was present this buying opportunity. Tomorrow we're going to be under pressure to kickstart trade. I think what's going to help a little bit is on Friday, the second half, only in the last hour of trade, you saw a sharp decline. And you have short positions that got added as well. So there was some sense that something could give over the weekend. What's your view? How would you advise investors to approach this dip tomorrow? Is it going to get very, very ugly? There'll be some leverage positions that obviously will sell off in the first couple of hours. So your take, Devina.
Okay, so before I come to this part, which I'm sure your viewers are interested in, as Sahil Ujani said, कौन रोता है किसी और की खाते रहे दोस्त सबको अपनी किसी बात पे रोना आया. So our focus is the markets, but just first look at the broader perspective. One is that what's happening in West Asia, and I had said to your sister channel in January that if Iran is hit, they're going to strike back. It's not a small country in terms of size. Its area is more than half India's area, and it is very well protected on the land. There are deserts and mountain ranges all around, so you can't really have a land war in that country. And I think they are, in their military strategy, they are playing a very tactical economic game. So if you look at their aim is not through their bombs and drones, a shock and awe game. They are hitting at Middle Eastern neighbors and increasing the risk premium. So it is like if you shut the Straits of Hormuz, maybe you can have military escort, but will anybody be willing to insure oil passing through those straits? Or for that matter, all the safe haven countries around them, while it is very difficult to watch it because you have family and friends there, but as far as the tactical move is concerned, they are really making it a high-cost war, which means that they are hoping that all those countries will maybe pressurize U.S. And President Trump has said, I want regime change, but how do you have regime change just with air power and asking people to rise up, because those same people were killed by the tens of thousands not very long ago, and those armed guards are still around. Coming to the markets, I mean, you've given this data. I actually had given this data right at the time of the Russia-Ukraine war, on the day when everybody thought the world was coming to an end. I was the lone voice saying that markets forget this sooner than you know. If your narrow focus is not, as you said, humanitarian, but only the markets, that's been the nature of markets. And we look for 50 years at every geopolitical turmoil.
That's right. So, Devina, yeah. So Devina, I recall that call you made, the last time we had this kind of geopolitical issue.
That is 6 months later, 1 year later, the countries which are not in the conflict, their markets forget about it.
So you believe? So tomorrow you will be deploying when we see that a bit of a gap down that we see.
Deployed, but if you are not deployed to the extent of your equity allocation and you get an opportunity, if you were waiting for a correction to deploy, please go ahead and deploy.
Got it.
Because the other question is crude. And crude in any case was due for a rally. In fact, in our last global rebalance about a month ago, we went further underweight US equities and we put that money in commodities, so crude mainly, and also a bit of metals. So that was anyway something that was kind of on the cards. But crude also, let me remind you, if you look at all past conflicts, while there is, every time something happens in West Asia, there is the crude spikes up. Right. But barring very short-term supply disruptions, the fact is everybody wants the oil fields to work. Nobody wants crude to shut down. The new ruler, the old ruler, the invader, everybody is there for the crude. That's the last thing they want to shut down, whether you are Saddam Hussein or ISIS.
Parting thoughts on what sector should one deploy? You said that if one isn't invested in the equity market to the extent that one should be, it's a good time to deploy in the near-term uncertainty. Any sectors, if you could give us top three?
Well, I mean, we are overweight auto components, autos, pharma, healthcare, and those we continue to be positive on. More selectively, also we have names in capital goods, FMCG, and chemicals. So we are of course in the middle of a rebalance, so we might make some changes. But broadly, this appears okay. Also, remember that Q3 earnings have been pretty good, which is what I had been saying on your channel also, that I expect Q3 earnings to accelerate, and that has happened. And the numbers don't even fully capture that, because while for manufacturing it kind of captures it, But services, the reported numbers were a little subdued because of the impact of the new labor code. So if you kind of adjust for that, the earnings have been pretty good. The valuations, if you look at sector-wise, were not at extremes to start with. So we are overall in a reasonable position in the markets. And as I said, I would deploy, if you are keeping your powder dry, this might be the opportunity to deploy. And I expect in probability terms that 2026 will be a better year for Indian markets than 2025.
Thank you.
All right, take that point, Devina. Thank you so much for stopping by and guiding our viewers through this period of uncertainty in emission.